Hey everyone, let's dive into a really fascinating question today. Can you take something most people just throw away, like old cooking oil, and turn it into something valuable, like fuel? And more importantly, can you actually make money doing it?
Really think about that for a second. The greasy stuff left over from making French fries, could that actually get a massive, heavy-duty truck from point A to point B? It sounds a little bit like science fiction, doesn't it? But the technology is real. The real question, though, isn't just, can we do it, but should we? Is it actually worth it?
And that right there is where this incredibly powerful tool comes into play. Techno-economic analysis, or TEA for short. Now, don't let the fancy name fool you. It's basically the ultimate reality check. It's the process engineers and investors use to look at a cool new idea and ask the toughest question of all. This is great, but will it make money?
So here's our game plan. We're going to walk through this step by step. We'll start by counting up all the costs. Then we'll look at the profitability scorecard to see if it's a winner. After that, we'll fire up what I like to call the what-if machine to find the weak spots. And finally, we'll piece together a blueprint for success. Sound good? Let's get started. Okay, so let's imagine for a minute that we're actually doing this. We're going to build our very own biodiesel business right from scratch, and we'll use a real-world analysis to guide us.
So, first things first, we need to figure out our startup costs. We've got to calculate the price of all the specialized gear, then figure out the total amount of money we'll need to get the doors open, and finally, we'll look at what it costs to run the place day to day versus how much we could make.
And let's just start with the really big ticket items. According to this analysis, just the core machinery, we're talking the reactors, the tanks, the pumps that do all the magic, that alone is going to set us back a cool $10 million.
But of course, you can't just buy the equipment and leave it in a field. You have to actually build a factory around it. So when you start adding in all the other stuff, installation, pipes, buildings, heck, even the legal fees, that number balloons to what's called the fixed capital investment. $39.5 million.
And we're not done yet. You still need cash on hand to get things rolling, right? You got to buy that first batch of oil, you got to pay your employees before you've sold a single drop of fuel, so you add that working capital in, and the grand total, the final number we'd need from investors, comes to $47.5 million. It's a huge number, no doubt. But is it worth it?
Okay, so the plant is built. What does it cost to run every year? Well, we'll spend about $88 million on our raw materials and another $5.4 million on utilities. All told, our total annual cost is about $113 million. But, and this is a big but, look at the other side of the ledger. Based on projected prices, our annual sales could bring in a whopping $354 million. Wow, that is a massive gap between spending and earning.
So we have this giant startup cost and this potentially giant annual profit. Now for the million-dollar question, or I guess the $47.5 million question, does this all add up to a good investment? Let's check the scorecard.
To figure this out, we're going to look at two really simple metrics. First, the payback period. It's exactly what it sounds like. How fast do we earn back that initial investment? Obviously, the shorter, the better. And second is the return on investment, or ROI. That tells us how much profit we're making each year compared to what we put in. And for that, the higher the percentage, the better.
Okay, you might want to brace yourself for this next number. The payback period? It's a stunningly low 0.2 years. Let that sink in. We'd make back our entire $47.5 million investment in just a couple of months. For a massive industrial project like this, that is, well, it's almost unheard of.
And what about that ROI? It's a mind-blowing 344%. So here's the crucial point. For every single dollar we put in to build this thing, the project is expected to generate over $3 in profit every single year. On paper, this isn't just a good business, it's an absolute 24-karat gold mine.
But wait a second, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Those incredible numbers, they're based on today's prices, on a lot of assumptions, and the real world, it's messy. So a good analysis doesn't stop here. Nope, it's time to fire up the what-if machine and really put our plan to the test.
What if the price of methanol suddenly spikes? Or what if the government changes some regulations? Or, and this is the big one, what if the market price for our beautiful biodiesel suddenly tanks? These are the kinds of curveballs the real world loves to throw, and they can completely sink a project.
This is exactly where sensitivity analysis comes in. It's just a fancy term for a really simple, powerful idea. We digitally tweak one variable at a time, like the price we pay for oil or the price we sell our fuel for, and we watch to see how it affects our profit. It's designed to find the project's single biggest weakness, its Achilles heel.
And here it is. This chart shows us everything. Look at this. The price we pay for the waste oil, it has a pretty small impact on our overall profitability. But the price of biodiesel? Whoa! It has an absolutely massive, overwhelming impact. In fact, the analysis shows that if the selling price of our biodiesel drops by more than 50%, this whole project goes from being a gold mine to a money pit. That right there, that's our vulnerability.
So, let's zoom back out and pull all this together. What does this deep dive into the nitty-gritty numbers really teach us? It's all about the power of running this kind of tough reality check.
So what have we learned? Well, TEA is what bridges that huge gap between a cool idea and a real, viable business. It forces you to calculate all the costs, it gives you that clear scorecard with things like ROI, but maybe most importantly, it shines a giant spotlight on your biggest financial risks. In our case, we now know that everything hinges on the selling price of our fuel. And with that knowledge, we can make a smarter plan. Maybe we lock in long-term sales contracts to guarantee a price. See? It doesn't just give you a yes or no, it gives you a roadmap.
So, in the end, yeah, turning old fryer oil into fuel seems incredibly profitable on paper. But the real lesson here is the process. It makes you look around and wonder, what other stuff that we call waste today is just one solid, reality-checked business plan away from becoming tomorrow's treasure? Thanks for joining me.